My name is Shelley Meyer. I'm 27 years old. And if you'd asked me a week ago what kind of life I wanted, I would have said something simple. Not glamorous, not fireworks every night, just steady. I'm an IT specialist, which means my days are filled with code printers that refuse to cooperate and coworkers who panic when the Wi-Fi flickers. I rent a modest apartment downtown. I cook dinner most nights, and I look forward to quiet Fridays curled on the couch with someone I love, a bowl of pasta in hand, and a movie humming in the background. To me, that wasn't boring. That was happiness. At least that's what I thought until last Wednesday. It started with my phone buzzing at my desk. I was needy in a ticket about a stubborn printer. When the notification popped up, a text from Maya, my best friend since college. Maya Shelley, is this Ethan? Please tell me this isn't your boyfriend? She attached a TikTok link. Now, I don't really do TikTok. Ethan does. He posts here and there outfit checks day in the life. Clips the occasional workout flex. I always brushed it off. I'm not the jealous type, and I trusted him. Or at least I thought I did. I clicked the link half smiling, already ready to tease him about whatever goofy thing he'd posted this time. But the second the video loaded, my smile died. The screen lit up with Ethan at his vanity mirror hair gel in one hand, grinning like he was auditioning for a reality show. The caption in glittering letters read him to dump my boring girlfriend. At first I thought maybe it was some joke, a prank, a stupid trend. My stomach whispered otherwise, but denial is a stubborn thing. Then he started talking. Okay guys, he said to the camera, his voice bright smug. Tonight's the night. I'm finally dumping my boring girlfriend. Like, don't get me wrong, she's sweet but seriously predictable to the point of pain. She thinks staying in and cooking pasta counts as a romantic date. Like, hello. We live in a city with actual restaurants. He laughed at his own joke while blending foundation into his skin. My ears rang. Don't even get me started on her job, he went on, his tone dripping sarcasm. Congrats, you fixed printers. So hot. I felt the blood drain from my face around me. The office clattered on keyboards, tapping phones ringing, but I heard none of it, only his voice. And meanwhile, I'm out here with options. Been talking to Dahlia, DJ Deluxe. She's actually ambitious. She actually knows people. Drives a Beamer, not whatever sad sedan Shell thinks is cool. Tonight I'm telling Shell it's over and that I'm heading to Dahlia's show. He slicked his hair back, puckered his lips, and winked. Wish me luck dumping Miss Low Value. Maybe she'll finally get it. Being stable isn't the same as being attractive. The video ended with him blowing a kiss at the camera. I sat there, frozen, phone in my palm like it had just burned me. Across the cubicle wall, Kevin from accounting glanced at me. Okay, Shell. You look pale. I shoved the phone into my pocket and mumbled, need some air. Outside, the autumn wind hit my face sharp and cold. I sank onto a bench and stared at the concrete beneath my shoes. His words replayed in my head over and over. Boring, low-value misfixed printers. Every sacrifice, every night I stayed up editing his resumes, every dinner I skipped with Maya so he and I could binge a show together. All reduced to a TikTok punchline. And the worst part, that was how I found out I was being dumped. Not a conversation, not even a text, a public broadcast to strangers. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Maya. Maya Shell, this is vile. Are you okay? Do you want me to come over? I couldn't reply. My throat felt locked. Instead, like an idiot, I reopened the video. By then, the comments had exploded. Girl, he sounds like a good guy. Why are you clowning her? Not the pasta slander some of us like home-cooked meals. You're bragging about leaving a stable partner for a DJ. Yikes. There were laughing emojis too, egging him on, but most weren't buying it. That should have given me comfort, but it didn't. My humiliation was still splattered across a glowing screen for thousands to witness. I clenched the bench until my knuckles ached. My first instinct was to call him, demand an explanation, scream. Why? But then a strange calm settled over me, slicing through the panic like ice. What good would that do? He'd already decided my worth, not in private, but in front of an audience. Once you do that, there's no coming back. I looked up at the gray sky. The city skyline blurred against it. The wind stung my cheeks, but inside, something colder had begun to form. if he wanted to show fine. But I wouldn't play the role he wrote for me. When I walked back into the office, coworkers avoided my eyes. They knew. Or maybe I just imagined they did. Either way, the humiliation pressed heavy on my chest. That night, I didn't wait for him to come home. I didn't even sit down. I stood in the doorway of our apartment, staring at the clutter. He left his sneakers by the door, his cologne bottle on the counter, his jacket slung carelessly across a chair. It all felt fake, like props on a stage after the performance ends. My jaw tightened. If I was predictable, then I'd be predictable one last time in the way he'd never expect. I pulled out some boxes from the closet. One by one, I began packing. His shoes, his shirts, his stupid hair products, all of it stripped from every corner he'd staked in my space. The anger wasn't driving me. Clarity was a strange razor-sharp calm. By the time I sealed the first box, I already knew he wasn't going to dump me. I was going to dump him, and unlike his TikTok mind, wouldn't be for show. The apartment greeted me with the same soft lamplight and the faint smell of garlic from last night's leftovers. It should have felt safe. Instead, it felt like walking back onto a stage where everyone already knew the ending, but me. I didn't take off my coat. I didn't put down my bag. I stood inside the doorway and let my eyes map the territory like I was seeing it for the first time. His sneakers spread open-mouthed by the mat, a pair of dumbbells abandoned under the coffee table. His cologne, the one that always gave me a headache, left uncapped on the kitchen counter. His jacket, expensive black heavy, draped over the back of a chair like a human shrug. Props, every piece of cue. And suddenly I could hear his laugh echoing off the walls, the one he used in videos. Bright practice, flawless. I set my bag down and pulled the first cardboard box from the hall closet. The tape dispenser shrieked as I fed the roll along the seam. The sound was ugly and honest, and I liked it. In the bedroom, I started with the top drawer of his dresser. Cuffed socks, gym shorts, a tangle of cords he promised he'd sort this weekend. I folded each thing into its own tired rectangle, the way I'd always done when we cleaned together, and he stood behind me supervising. I didn't rush. I wasn't angry enough to rush. I was precise, calm, almost gentle, like I was closing down a system the right way, so nothing corrupted on the way out. With every drawer I emptied, the room changed temperature, lighter, quieter. The mirror over the bureau showed a woman moving slow and sure, hair pulled back, face set in a line that said she'd chosen something and would not unchoose it. Halfway through, my phone buzzed. Maya, Maya, I'm parked outside your building. Don't argue. I brought snacks and emotional opinions. I exhaled a laugh I hadn't expected. I texted back, me doors open. Don't trip over his ego on the way in. Less than a minute later, Maya stepped inside, hugging a tote bag to her chest like contraband. She took one look at the boxes and nodded once. Not pity, approval. Okay, she said, dropping the bag, toweling off her boots. We're doing this the healthy way, methodical and a little bit petty. I'm not petty, I said, and meant it. Right, and I'm not dramatic. Give me something to pack. We moved in a rhythm that didn't need words. She took the closet where his jackets hung in hearty confidence. I took the nightstand where receipts were stuffed like secrets. As we worked, she narrated to keep things light. Here lies the bomber jacket of a man who thinks the word ambitious is a personality. Don't make me laugh. I said, smiling anyway. Tape's not cheap. In the bathroom, I lined up his products like little soldiers and swept them into a fresh box. Mousse gel, a pomade, he said was artisanal. The curling iron he'd borrowed for an experiment and never returned to the drawer properly. I wound its cord carefully. Not my mess anymore, but I wouldn't leave a fire hazard behind. By the time we reached the kitchen, the apartment sounded different. No metal hangers clacking, no drawers, rasping, just the soft thud of full boxes and the whisper of tape. I rinsed 2 glasses and filled them with water. Maya leaned on the counter like it might give way. You really okay? She asked. Ask me in a week, I said. Right now I'm clear. Clear is good. Clear was better than rage. Clear cut, straight. A memory flashed Ethan laughing into the camera. Miss Low Value. I set the glass down and wiped a ring of water with my sleeve. I'm changing the locks, I said. Maya's eyebrows rose, then lowered, with approval. I saw the lock kit under your sink last month. I thought you were finally going to fix that sticky turn. Now I see you were foreshadowing. I didn't know I was, I said. But yes, we carried the last 2 boxes to the door and stacked them neatly. I took a sticky note from the junk drawer, wrote 4 words in small, steady letters, and stuck it to the top box. Here's your stuff back. No hashtags, no apology, no speech. Do you want me here when he comes? Maya asked. He's probably at Dahlia's show already, I said, the name sour on my tongue. He wanted a dramatic midnight breakup. Remember, I'm ruining the third act twist. Queen behavior, she said. Where's the screwdriver toolbox under the sink? We worked at the door together. I unscrewed the old deadbolt, the one that needed a jiggle, while Maya read the new lock's instruction sheet like it was sacred text. The metal was cold in my hands, familiar. My dad taught me how to do this when I moved out at 19. Know your locks, he'd said. And who holds the keys? The new bolt slid into the wood like it belonged there. Click, clean, final. Maya whistled. Listen to that. That's the sound of boundaries. We stood there for a second, backs against the door, listening to the quiet on the other side. Footsteps in the hallway, then nothing. Then nothing. The city breathed beyond the wall's car horns like distant geese. Do you want to post something? Chosipu, Maya asked carefully. Not a clapback, just your side. People are ripping him for you. I thought of the comments under his video multiplying like cells. I thought of my name in strangers' mouths. I thought of my face on his feed, and how many times he'd cropped me at the margins an accessory to his angle. No, I said silence is my statement. Maya studied me, then smiled. Okay then, let me say things out loud so the universe hears them. You are not boring. You are reliable. You are not low value. You are priceless. And anyone who confuses calm with lack of passion is a child with sparklers who's never seen a lighthouse. A lighthouse, I repeated, unable not to smile. That's dramatic. I warned you. She glanced toward the boxes. What do you want to do with those? I'll text him the new plan. I said he can schedule a pickup. I'll leave them in the lobby with the concierge. No scenes, no monologues. Maya squeezed my hand. I'm proud of you. When she left, the apartment felt bigger but not lonelier. The missing weight was his. My weight remained set in bone. I walked room to room, touching surfaces we thought of as shared table couch. The small dent in the hallway where we once bumped the laundry basket. Everything was quieter, not because it was empty, but because it was finally telling the truth. In the living room, I sat on the floor and let my back rest against the couch. My phone vibrated against my thigh. I didn't need to look. I knew the name that would be on the screen before I turned it over. Ethan. I let it buzz once, twice, a third time, a call. It clicked to voicemail. A minute later, a text. Ethan, seriously, you packed my things. What is wrong with you? I watched the bubbles appear, disappear, reappear. Ethan opened the door. I'm on my way. No, you're not, I thought. Dahlia's show started at 8. Your ticket was your swagger. Your audience was your mirror. But I typed nothing. Another text. Ethan, you were being hysterical. We needed to talk. It was a joke. My thumb hovered. I could have answered 100 things. I could have cited quotes, timestamps, metrics. I could have explained how jokes land when they're kind and rot when they're cruel. Instead, I pressed the side button and watched the screen go black. Silence folded over me like a blanket I chose. I changed the Wi-Fi password, not out of spite, out of habit. Systems need clean login. I opened the kitchen window and the night moved in a low city hum. Someone laughing on the sidewalk, a bicycle bell flicking twice. The type of soundtrack I used to choose for cooking. I lifted the lid on last night's pot and smiled at the basil and tomato scent that bloomed up. Pasta. Boring. Apparently comfort, actually. I reheated it and ate, standing up, fork scraping the bowl in slow circles. Mid-bite, my phone chimed again. A voicemail transcription loaded itself like unwanted subtitles. Ethan voicemail. Shelley, seriously, you're making me look like a monster. You could at least defend me. You know I exaggerate online. That's my brand. People don't get it. This is bad for both of us. Call me back. Both of us. The part of me that had once believed we were a team flinched. The rest of me kept chewing. I swallowed, washed the bowl, set it to dry. Before bed, I pulled a small cardboard box from the back of the top shelf. Our memories, the ones we'd never organized. Wristbands from a street fair, a photo strip where my hair was frizzy, and he made the same smirk in all 4 frames, a napkin with his messy handwriting. You make me feel safe. I held it in the light long enough to feel the ache, then slipped it into the box with his things. Maybe he could keep the evidence. Maybe he needed to remember he once said it. I locked the door with its new voice. In the quiet, my heartbeat slowed to something even. In the darkness of my room, I lay on my side and stared at the outline of the dresser, the smudge of city glow at the edge of the curtains. Not fireworks, not a show. The long, steady beam of something that didn't ask to be watched to be real. My phone blinked once on the nightstand, then gave up. I didn't check it. Sleep came like a tide. When it took me, it was full and salt clean. In the morning, I would wake to 1,000 opinions I hadn't asked for. The internet would do what the internet does. Build a stage. Boo. A villain. Crown a hero. Forget the show. Move on. But tonight in the between, there was only this. A door that opened and closed when I wanted. A key that fit my hand. A heartbeat that belonged to me. I turned on my side, pressed my palm against the cool sheet, and let the quiet choose me back. The next morning, the buzz of my phone yanked me out of sleep before the alarm. It wasn't just one ping. It was dozens stacking on top of each other, lighting up the screen like fireworks. For one disoriented second, I thought maybe it was work, some IT disaster. A server crash. But when I blinked at the glow, the flood of notifications wasn't from the office. It was from TikTok. Mentions, tags, duets. I hadn't even looked at Ethan's post since last night, but the internet clearly had. I padded into the kitchen bare feet on cold tile and poured myself coffee with shaking hands. The bitter steam steadied me enough to open the app. 2 million views overnight. My stomach clenched as I scrolled. The video was the same as before. Ethan grinning into the mirror, mocking me bragging about Dahlia. But now the comment section wasn't just amused strangers. It was a war zone. Imagine finding out you're dumped like this. Poor girl. Stability and loyalty aren't boring, bro. You just sound shallow. Leaving a woman with a career for a DJ clown behavior. Not the pasta slander some of us like home-cooked meals. And below the comments were the stitches other creators dragging him. One girl sipping wine and shaking her head. This is why dating feels like auditioning. Another guy deadpanning to the camera. Bro thinks being a DJ is a retirement plan. It wasn't sympathy that flooded me. It was something stranger, detached fascination. Ethan had tried to make me the punchline, but the internet had flipped the script. I sipped my coffee slowly, watching clip after clip. He wanted an audience. He got one, just not the one he rehearsed for. By noon, Ethan posted a follow-up. His eyes looked puffy. His voice pitched higher than usual, like he was trying too hard to sound casual. Okay guys, chill. It was a joke. Like, obviously, Shell is great. People are overreacting. His face twisted as though he believed it. But the comment section shredded him worse than before. You don't get to clown your girlfriend and then play the victim. So it's only a joke now that people hate you too late. To Tati King, the internet never forgets. I leaned back in my chair, phone heavy in my palm. I hadn't lifted a finger, and yet the humiliation he planned for me had doubled back and wrapped itself around his neck. The doorbell buzzed, suddenly sharp enough to make me flinch. I checked the camera. No one I recognized, just a delivery guy with a bouquet of flowers. When I opened the door, he handed me a vase stuffed with red roses and a white envelope. The card inside read, "Let's talk. You know I didn't mean it." My hand tightened on the paper. He thought flowers could erase 2 million views. Erase calling me Miss Low Value. Erase selling me for clout. I set the bouquet in the hallway, closed the door, and bolted the new lock. The phone buzzed again. Text this time. Ethan, we need to get ahead of this. Just post something saying we're fine. People will stop attacking me. Ethan, seriously, Shelly, don't let strangers ruin us. This is your reputation too. Ethan, call me back. I read them once, twice. The entitlement bled through every line. Us. We. Reputation. Not a word about how I felt. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. I could reply with the truth. There is no us. You ruined it the moment you chose an audience over me. But why waste the breath? I dropped the phone face down on the table and turned to the window instead. The city stretched gray and endless beyond the glass. Honking living moving on. That afternoon, my inbox exploded again. This time with links from Maya. Maya, he's getting roasted on Twitter now. He's a meme. Shelly. Maya, do not feel bad. He filmed your heartbreak for likes. The internet just returned the favor. I wanted to feel vindicated. I wanted to feel triumphant. Instead, what I felt was lighter. Not joy, not spite, just a shedding. Like I'd been carrying a coat in summer and someone finally told me I could put it down. The coat wasn't mine anymore. It never had been. By evening, Ethan posted again, voice cracking this time. Please stop. You don't know what it's like. I'm a good guy, really. I sat on my couch, sipping the last of my coffee gone cold, and let the screen go dark. His unraveling wasn't my burden to carry. For the first time in months, the silence in my apartment felt like peace. The text didn't stop. At first, Ethan's tone was sharp, full of teeth. Ethan, you seriously think locking me out makes you look strong? You look pathetic. Everyone's laughing at you. I read it once, set the phone face down, and went back to work. An hour later, another ping. Ethan, okay, fine. Maybe I shouldn't have posted that, but, I didn't mean half of it. I was just performing. You get that right. Performing. The word made my stomach turn. So our relationship was what an audition, a stage, until a better crowd arrived. I didn't reply. By the third day, his messages had shifted tone again. Softer pleading. Ethan voicemail. People are tearing me apart. You don't understand what it's like. They're calling me names, saying I'll die alone. You could at least defend me. Tell them I'm not that bad. Not that bad. The same man who called me Miss Low Value on camera now wanted me to vouch for his character. I let the voicemail expire into silence. Then came the late night texts. Ethan, I miss you. I miss us. We were good together. Don't let one stupid video ruin that. Ethan, I'll delete it. I'll apologize online. We can move past this. Ethan, remember our first date? You spilled coffee on yourself and I told you it was cute. That was real. I wasn't lying. You made me feel safe, Shell. Every message was like watching him try to rewind the tape of our relationship, from smug to defensive, from pleading to nostalgic. He was cycling through roles, waiting to see which one might get an applause, and every time my answer was the same silence. By the weekend, the desperation curdled into bitterness again. Ethan, angry voicemail. So that's it. You're just going to ghost me after I gave you the best years of my life. You think you'll find someone better. You won't. You're boring. Remember, no one wants boring. His voice cracked at the end, betraying what he didn't want to admit, that he was trying harder to convince himself than me. I thought maybe that was the end of it, that he'd burn himself out against the wall of my silence. But a week later, he cornered me. It was at the grocery store of all places. I was checking out with a basket of fruit and coffee grounds when I heard his voice behind me. Seriously, Shell, you're just going to pretend I don't exist. The cashier's hands froze mid-scan. I turned. There he was, sunglasses hiding nothing, hair messy, a hoodie swallowing his shoulders, smaller than I remembered, deflated. What do you want, Ethan? I asked, voice flat. He scoffed as though the answer were obvious. I want to know why you're acting like I'm the bad guy here. It was a joke. Everyone took it the wrong way. You know me better than that. I raised an eyebrow. Do I... For a second he faltered. Then he stepped closer, lowering his voice, trying to play intimate. Look, this whole thing is stupid. People will forget in a month. We can just laugh about it later. You and me against the world, right? There it was, the pitch. The same fake charm he used online, now aimed at me like a recycled script. I couldn't help it. I laughed. Not cruel, not loud. Just a short, amused laugh. His face twisted. What's so funny? I shook my head. You wanted a show, Ethan. You got one. Only problem is you cast yourself as the villain. The cashier stifled the smile, eyes darting between us. Ethan's cheeks flushed red. I'm not the villain. I was trying to entertain people. Congrats, I said. You did. Now you're shocked they don't like your character. For a heartbeat, silence hung thick. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. So that's it. You're just going to throw us away like we meant nothing. I smiled lightly. No, you did that. I'm just cleaning up the set. The cashier scanned my last item with a trembling beep. I slid my card, picked up my bag, and walked out without looking back. In the parking lot, the air felt fresher, wider, like I had finally stepped outside the theater after being trapped inside too long. Not triumphant, not vengeful, just free. He wanted me humiliated on stage. Instead, he'd written his own downfall, and I didn't even have to buy a ticket. The night after the grocery store, I sat by the window with a mug of tea watching the city glow. Cars pulsed along the street like veins. Voices rose and fell on the sidewalk below. Life kept moving, and for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel like I was falling behind. I felt steady. My phone buzzed on the table. I almost ignored it, but curiosity tugged. Another voicemail transcription loaded across the screen. Ethan voicemail. You think you're better off without me? Fine, but don't act like you're some saint. No one wants boring, Shelley. You'll see. You'll miss me when you're alone with your pasta and your printers. I let the word scroll to the end. Then I pressed delete. It was amazing how quiet the room felt after that. The next morning, Maya came over with croissants. She sprawled on my couch like she owned it, hair in a messy bun, eyes sparkling. He's still trending, she announced between bites. Congratulations. Your dating history turned into the internet's cautionary tale. I rolled my eyes, smiling despite myself. Not sure that's the legacy I wanted. Trust me, she said, waving her pastry like a wand. The internet forgets fast. By next week, they'll be roasting some influencer's skincare routine. But you, she pointed at me, you'll still be free. Free? The word felt right, like a coat that finally fit. In the days that followed, I rebuilt routines. Cooking for one didn't sting anymore. It felt intentional. I filled the apartment with music I liked, not playlists engineered for his content. I watered plants I'd neglected. I even painted the living room wall a soft green I'd always wanted, but Ethan had vetoed as unphotogenic. Each small act was a reclamation, a reminder that this space, this life was mine. One afternoon, scrolling idly, I saw a headline: DJ Deluxe denies rumors of relationship with Ethan. Dahlia herself had posted a blunt Instagram story. For the record, I have nothing to do with his video. Please leave me out of his drama. The comments were merciless. She dodged a bullet. Imagine bragging about a fling that wasn't even real. I didn't laugh out loud, but inside a knot I hadn't realized I was carrying loosened. Karma didn't need my help. It had a schedule of its own. That evening, my phone buzzed again. A final text from Ethan. Ethan, just admit it. You're miserable without me. You'll never find anyone better. I stared at it for a moment. My thumb hovered. Then I switched the phone to silent and set it face down. No anger, no sadness, just clarity. I didn't need to answer because the truth was simple. I wasn't miserable. I wasn't waiting for better. I had already chosen better. The quiet of my own company, the steadiness of my own hands, the peace of being boring in a world obsessed with noise. That night, as I lay in bed, I let myself remember our first date when I spilled coffee and he told me it was cute. The night I drove across town at 2:00 in the morning to pick him up because his car broke down. The way he once whispered that, I made him feel safe. And then, the TikTok Miss low value, the sneer, the wink. The contrast was a knife, but a clean one, sharp enough to cut the last thread. I turned on my side, pressed my hand against the cool sheet, and breathed. People chase fireworks, loud, bright, gone. Too soon. Ethan was one of them. But me, I'd take the lighthouse, the steady beam, the flame that doesn't need applause to keep burning. Boring, I whispered into the dark, and for the first time I smiled. Because boring wasn't the worst thing you could be. Cruel was shallow, was disrespectful was. He could keep his fireworks. I'd keep my peace. And in that peace, I realized quiet doesn't mean small. Quiet doesn't mean weak. Quiet can be the loudest kind of freedom.